Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 3 of my F1 2015 Räikkönen Career mode. Today we're here in China for the Chinese Grand Prix, that's quite obvious, and after a terrible misjudgment in qualifying, I am starting 15th. That's because I was last in Q2 because everyone else squeezed in a time on the options at the end, whereas I didn't. I tried, but I missed the line by about 2 seconds. Qualifying ended before I could get to the line and do a time. So that was very irritating. That's because it had been raining earlier on in the qualifying. But on the bright side, I do have tyre choice, although that doesn't matter because I go for the option anyway. So here I am on the grid, ready to start. The Chinese Grand Prix need a good start here if I'm to get a top 10, well, hopefully top 5, but it's not very realistic. Bad getaway as usual. Hopefully F1 2016's manual starts actually give you the chance of having a good start. And I'm already running very wide, but I'm gaining places nonetheless. There's just a path positioned in front of me. A little bit of contact with Kvyat, but that's not surprising because he's Kvyat. And yeah, there's just a space for me as I managed to gain some positions through the first couple of bends into 8th place. Here's a replay of the start. My initial getaway was actually bad, and I had, well, the McLaren Honda behind me was much closer than the cars in front, but then I just run very wide, able to carry a lot of speed. Everyone else just holding each other up, really, on the inside, and I'm just able to drive around the outside. Contact between the Lotus and Toro Rosso on the outside helped me there. Otherwise, if they were still on the inside, they could have got in my way. That could have ended badly. Hoping to continue gaining places, I line up Perez into turn 1, round the outside, have lots of grip on these fresh options, and then in my mirrors I just see him spinning round. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Did he run into the side of me? I don't know. From the replay it looks like just a racing incident where I was turning in and he was running wider. And, well, he definitely came off of that a lot worse than I did because he retired after that, whereas I'm able to I'm completely fine. I can just continue on. Towards the end of lap 3, I'm able to use Rich Mix, Slipstream and DRS on the back straight to get past Daniel Ricciardo in his Red Bull. Quite a simple manoeuvre ahead of him before we even get to the braking zone. On lap 7, I inherit the lead as Massa, Bottas, Rosberg and Vettel, I think those are the people who are in front of me, they all pit for another set of the option tyres, whereas mine are, well, they didn't have as much grip as they did, but I'm still able to go on these tyres for the moment. They've still got enough grip to get me round at a decent lap time. At the end of lap 8, I bring it into the pits for a set of the prime tyres. Switching from my options, obviously, I'm kind of just making up a strategy as I go along. Like, I just thought, hey, I'll stretch out my options because I've got enough grip, and what tyre should I put it on? Well, we've got a lot of laps left, so I'll use the prime. I'm just making it up as I go along and hoping for the best. And actually, Hamilton and Ricciardo, I come out just behind them, and there's a gap on the inside, so I breeze up the inside of Ricciardo, gap closing there, but despite those two, contact with Hamilton as well, and despite those two being on the quicker tyre, I'm able to hold it around the outside of Hamilton and pass both of them. So, don't quite know what's up with Hamilton. Looks like he's holding up Ricciardo even, but don't know what happened there. Perhaps he's got damage or something. I don't know. After driving around on my own for lots of laps, everybody else in front of me comes in and puts on, I don't know what tyres they put on, but I know that they've pitted earlier than me because I made my options go further, and they were on options, whereas I'm on primes. So I can go further than they can, and Rosberg, who was race leader, has come out of the pits behind me. I'm in front of him. This is critical to the race result. Here I'm starting to think, right, I have track position. It's not easy to overtake at this track, but it's not really difficult either. So, if I can somehow miss a pit stop, I'm thinking, at this point it seems impossible, and maybe like 4th is on the cards. But I stretched these tyres for a lot longer than I thought would be possible. Rosberg and Vettel are already hounding me. Bear in mind, these guys should be a few seconds a lap faster. They're on fresh options. I'm on worn primes. But I'm still going to hold them up. I'm going to fight. That's what you want to see, and that's what I like doing. And Vettel creeps it up the inside around turn 1. Then he has the outside for turn 2. He's going to have a lot of grip on exit, so I make sure to squeeze him to the outside. But then he's on the inside of me as we come down. Ooh, a little bit of contact into this hairpin. Can I hold it round the outside? He's got the inside. I try and make him go very tight on exit, but he just has so much more grip than me. Coming into this left-hander, I find some grip from nowhere and I'm able to shoot down the inside. He's then got the inside for the next one. Looks like he's got the move done, but I'm not going to give up first that easily, as I'm able to come down the inside, and as I have the inside for 2 bends in a row, he yields and lets me have the position. But wow, we were like side by side for most the bends on this lap. On lap 17, into turn 1, I just run wide with the lack of grip. Vettel and Rosberg fly up the inside. I then fly up the inside of them desperately. Contact with Rosberg's rear tyre, and actually I just spun him round. I don't think I'm not... Well, what even happened there? Let's have a look at a replay. I dived up the inside of Vettel, made contact with Rosberg's rear tyre, and then as we came onto the second part, I was in front of Rosberg. I just squeezed him onto the curb, but he did not yield position at all. He didn't brake, and he just sort of spun himself, but it was assisted by me. I think that's what we'll call that. It's lap 18, and my tyres are like ice skates at this point. Vettel and Rosberg must be fuming at me from inside their cockpits, as I have just held them up so much, but I'm completely allowed to do so. Their strategists should have looked at what I was doing and tried to avoid getting themselves in this circumstance, but Rosberg manages to get past me, and I just have a little look into the hairpin. He just shits his pants and aborts the bend, so I'm like, okay, I'll take first back if you're sure you don't want it. So if I can just hold these guys up for 2 more laps and then pit for the options and make them go 8 laps like I did in my first stint, then I will have missed a pit stop and I will actually be in first as first place, and not just because I'm on a different strategy. And that's exactly what I did on lap 20. Well, as we start lap 21, I bring it into the pits for a set of the options. I've managed to miss a pit stop. I've gone probably twice as long on the primes as I was supposed to. My engineer was telling me every 10 seconds to come and pit. And now, if I'm... Well, I think Vettel and Rosberg will be pitting again, I think, but I'm not sure. As I come down the main straight to start lap 22, Vettel and Rosberg and whoever else is in front of me, I think it's Bottas, comes into the pits, and I don't even come out alongside them. I come out ahead of all 3 of them. I am back in first place. All I have to do is hold this position until the end, and I have... Wow. Where did I start? Was it 15th? I think that's the second time I've started 15th this season. We've only done 3 races, so my qualifying record isn't looking good. But if everything goes to plan, it looks like I could be getting my first win of the season in very unexpected circumstances. Although, it is starting to rain. And my engineer kept telling me about it, but I didn't think that would happen until like the last 2 laps, and I thought it would only be very light and that it wouldn't make much of a difference. But it's not long until intermediate conditions, and thankfully I'm able to pull away from Rosberg, Bottas and Vettel at this point. Starting lap 25, I bring it into the pits for a set of the intermediate tyres. I was a bit cautious about doing this, as I didn't want to do it and then Rosberg and Vettel and Bottas pass me and don't pit, because then I'd have to catch up to them and pass them. But thankfully they do just follow me into the pits. On the final lap of the Grand Prix, I have got a comfortable lead over Rosberg. I'm just being cautious and bringing the car home to claim the win, getting really out of shape on this bend that feeds you onto the back straight. It's wet conditions now, there is just no doubt about it. I mean, almost hit Pastor Maldonado, who's lapped, but he storms past me on the wet tyre. The only reason he slows down is here is to let me through because he's lapped. And well, the conditions, I was struggling so much for lap 27, 28. I even considered pitting. And I think Rosberg did pit on lap 27, so he's so far behind me now I could pit or have a cup of tea or something. But I am just amazed at how this race has turned around to start in 15th and then just that brilliant start, and then getting the strategy right, being able to hold those two up, and then still being able to bring these intermediates through the wet conditions without crashing into the barrier. Then finishing 36 seconds ahead of Rosberg. I did not expect that. I thought top 3 would be the best thing that could happen. And, well, I've won my first race of the season. Kimi looks delighted, as he should, but not as he does in real life. He doesn't really look delighted much in real life. But I'm sure there's some delight inside him somewhere. Yeah, thank you for watching a very interesting race. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you next time for the Bahrain Grand Prix. I want to win in Bahrain because I'm quite good at that track. China, it's like Malaysia. I don't like the track, I'm not good at it, but somehow I managed to pull it together in China. Definitely making up for the poor performance that we had in Malaysia, and, well, that puts me ahead of Vettel in the championship, just behind Rosberg though, so I'm second in the Drivers' Championship, and Ferrari's second in the Constructors, just 2 points behind Mercedes.